Hello and welcome to Baiju's Exam Prep IAS. The big news for today is that China once again has provocated India by renaming some of the places in Arunachal Pradesh. So what has happened is China's official newspaper, that is a Global Times, they have released a report in which they have taken names and exact coordinates of certain places within Arunachal Pradesh. They have given them Chinese names. There are 11 places in total that have been listed by the Chinese government. Now, the interesting part is this is not the first time that China is doing something like this. This kind of provocation has been a part of modus operandi of China, where every few months they try and bring in this kind of a controversy to lay claim over Arunachal Pradesh, which is an integral part of India's territory. In this video of the big news, thus, we will be discussing the implication of what China has done. Why is it that they do these kind of things every few months, and does China have other kind of border disputes as well that we might not be very well aware of? Let's see. Now, as I discussed, it all started when the Chinese government named 11 places in Arunachal Pradesh as their own places and gave their own Chinese names. Now, you should also know Arunachal Pradesh is an area which Chinese call as Zangnan. They think that this is a southern part of Tibet territory, which in itself China claims is their own territory. Now, this is the third time in the recent past that they have done this. This is the third list of these Chinese Tibetan names that they have given for Arunachal Pradesh. China's Ministry for Civil Affairs released these 11 names for Arunachal Pradesh, that is the Zangnan area in their own thinking, which is the southern part of Tibet. Now, while releasing these official names, China also released their precise coordinates because they wanted the Indian side also to know which are the places that they are talking about so that they can provoke the Indian side. It includes 2 land areas, 2 residential areas, 5 mountain peaks and 2 rivers as well, along with their subordinate administrative districts. As the article suggests, this is the third batch of this kind of a provocation from China. The first one was in 2017. In 2017, similarly, China had given Chinese names to 6 places in Arunachal Pradesh. Then, just in 2021, they again did the same by giving 15 places Chinese names. All of this is done without any consultation, obviously, and without any warning to India or to any other country, anyways. Now, why does China do this? Now, if you look at this from China's point of view, they always lay claim to Arunachal Pradesh. They have claims of over 90,000 square kilometer of Arunachal Pradesh's territory. They think that this is a part of South Tibet and this has always been controlled by those dynasties that have ruled over Tibet. In fact, Chinese maps also show Arunachal Pradesh as a part of China. Now, usually China gives different reasons why they claim Arunachal Pradesh as to be their territory. One big reason, as we discussed, is that those dynasties, those rulers that ruled over Tibet also ruled over Arunachal Pradesh. Not just this, Arunachal Pradesh, as you know, has Tawang. Now, Tawang district is also the birthplace of the Dalai Lama. This is why China claims that since Dalai Lama is the spiritual leader of Tibet and Tibet is in our control, thus by that connection, Arunachal Pradesh should also be our territory. They have time and time again raised border issues at Arunachal Pradesh. Recently, you would have seen just a few months back, if you remember, there were clashes at Tawang sector as well. So this Chinese effort to give these places a Chinese name is a part of that conspiracy. China's argument goes back to the Shimla Convention of 1914. As you know, this was a convention where China, Tibet and British India were trying to negotiate the official border between British India and Tibet. Although the negotiations started with 3 parties, but at the end, China did not sign on this convention. It was only Tibet and British India that signed. That is why China says that we are never a part of this convention. China at this convention was being represented by the Republic of China since the rule of the Qing dynasty had very recently been overthrown in China in 1912. The Communist Party, ever since they have come in power in China after the Communist Revolution in 1949, have time and time again said that it is a priority of their government that they want to reclaim almost all the territory which was once under China and under the dynasties that ruled over China. This McMahon line, as you know, it was in the news also very recently, because McMahon line is now officially recognized as the border between India's Arunachal Pradesh and Tibet by US as well. The US Senate recently had this resolution. This McMahon line was the outcome of the same Shimla Convention that we were discussing. But China says, since we never signed the final Shimla Convention, we are never a party to it, so we will not accept that McMahon line is the official line between the two sides. Now, the interesting part is China has other border issues as well. Since we are in India, so we mainly focus on China's border issues with India. But China has these kind of underlying border issues, not just on the land border, but the maritime border as well with multiple nations. None of them is as important as the South China Sea. As you know, China completely believes that the entire South China Sea is their own territory. All the other nations that share a border with the South China Sea, be it Vietnam, Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia, or even Taiwan, China does not want to give even an inch of the South China Sea to them. China, in fact, says that Taiwan also is a part of China. It does not deserve to be an independent sovereign country altogether. And China, today or tomorrow, will eventually take control of Taiwan as well. So it's not just with India that they have these kind of issues. China's issues have been pending with multiple such nations. One other part of the story that we must understand is last year, China released its new border law that came into force from 1st of Jan 2022. This was also kind of posturing that China wanted to show to the entire world that is an aggressive stand towards their border issues. As per this new border law, it says that People's Republic of China shall set up boundary markers on all its land borders. So it was a signal to all the other countries with which China may have some other pending land disputes that China will now start drawing boundaries, physical boundaries on their land borders, which they believe. They also said that the armed police force and the PLA, that is the People's Liberation Army, have the responsibility of maintaining security at the border. Not just this, even the people living by near the border, that is, even the common citizens have the responsibility to assist the armed forces of China. The law also says that borders shall be sealed in event of any armed conflict or any incident such as biological or chemical accident. This border law was also criticized by multiple nations around the world, including US, India, and Japan. But China has stuck to this as well. This is it for today's big news video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day ahead. Jai Hind.